And we're going to start off with our president, who would like to welcome you also, and she has a word or two for you. So right now we're going to be hearing from our Daughters of the King National President, Nancy Severn. There she is.
Thank you very much, Helen. And I thank you all for your dedicated service as Daughters at Large Chair and clergy who support. Your work in this regard is most important for many reasons. If you access the Daughters at Large webpage on the Order's national website and read through the information there, you will notice the many references to communication and togetherness. It speaks to community and connectedness over and over, for we are about community and connectedness, and this speaks to our spiritual journey as well. It is a part of who we are. From the beginning, the order was founded on community and the gift of being together. It was the strength in gathering many into one to share the love of Jesus. Today, it is still the strength of gathering many into one. However, the many are many, many more. It's proof of the power of women praying together, serving together, and spreading the good news, for we know that love grows. One of the important dimensions of community is ensuring a sense of belonging. The desire to belong, I believe, is rooted in every heart. It is God's imprint, placed deeply by God, for we belong to God as a beloved child, as a beloved daughter. Being a daughter of the King and the vows we take embrace this deep longing, and in this we can express and share this unique belonging. Hence the great importance for Daughters at Large, regardless of circumstances, that you feel a part of the larger community, always embraced, invited, and included. Each member of the National Council has a job description for their position, and Helen has created a similar one for you. It includes a list of duties and responsibilities, and woven throughout the document for the National Daughter at Large Chair is the call of commitment to sustain community and to maintain communications. We need to reawaken this sense of community as we continue to gather, to invite and to share at every level. According to John O'Donohue in his writings, he says, wherever there is distance, there is longing. And he kind of explains it this way. We are protected and blessed in our distance. Were we near the sun, the earth would be consumed in its fire. It is the distance that makes the fire kind. There is some strange sense in which distance and closeness are sisters, the two sides of one experience. I see this with daughters, and specifically Daughters at Large. In our distances geographically, there is longing to be closer. In that longing, we also find the desire or pull to belong. How beautiful God's design, how powerful is the love that created this divine dance. So embrace your role as a daughter at large chair, and step into the flow of divine connection. And we continue to thank you for all that you do in your work and for his sake. And I just would like to add a another reference to triennial and our triennial 2024 coming up in just about, 8 months or so, 9 months. It is going to be held at the Galt House in Louisville, Kentucky, June 26th through the 30th. And the theme is A New Day Dawns. And I think that we are seeing that in our looking forward, in our longing to be together, and our longing to belong, that indeed a new day is dawning, bringing forth new opportunities for us to be together as a group of beloved daughters of the King. And I would remind you to keep looking at our national web page, the national website, for constant and current updated information on all that you need to do to find out more information about Triennial 2024. And I thank you, Helen, for this opportunity to speak to our daughters at large.
And we thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy, for sharing. President Nancy, we're glad, and we are very happy that you can come on here to be with us, because I know you're busy too, and everybody wants a little bit of you. Thank you. And we have, let me give you a little update what's going to happen here. I'm going to say something to you, and in a little while we're going to hear from some of our, I would say, past DALs. They were DALs and moving to chapters, and they're going to talk about some of that President Nancy just mentioned. Now, I would like to see a show of hands. I would like to see how many of you have heard about the Sister to Sister program. The Sister to Sister program. I need to go to the next screen to see if anybody over there too. Okay, Val, I know you're pushing it and you're doing very good with that. And Sue, oh yes, Sue. Okay. Well, you should have heard, and also the daughters who are presently in chapters should have heard. And I'll give you a little idea how it goes. Now, the daughters in community or daughters in chapters should be reaching out to you to develop a closer sisterly relationship and keep you up to date on everything going on in the chapter, in the diocese, and even in the province. And this has been the thing in the past. We've asked them to reach out to you. Now, at this time, I am asking you to also reach out to chapters in your area, in your diocese or your province, and request a sister from that chapter to connect with you. So I'm now asking you to have a more active role in this bonding and sisterly connection. What relationship can be tighter than two sisters who love and care for each other? Anything closer and tighter than that? And this sister will be inviting you to her chapter, which you might eventually want to be a part of because of what you see or learn from your sister's chapter. You may even want to start one in your parish, your new parish, because you may not want to leave your parish and you only need 2 others to form a chapter. And these could be good friends or family members. That's evangelism, bringing others into a relationship with Christ. Remember when Andrew was called by Christ, whom did he call? His brother, Simon, the well-known Simon Peter. Now, one of our common quotes, or I should say one of my common quotes, and you've heard it earlier going on, bloom where you're planted. That's been my life story. But you need to be watered, nourished, and even fertilized sometimes. And that is what we do. What we do at national, province, and your diocese. That's what we do to ensure that when you bloom, you have the most healthy and beautiful blossoms and healthy fruits like Reverend Dale prayed for earlier for us. And yes, we will provide the resources and guidance that you will need for that. You just have to be willing to do that. And we're here to provide whatever you need for that. And yes, there are some sisters here right now who did just that and would like to share that with you. And at this time, I'm going to call on one of our sisters from Province 4, Mrs. Linda Sullivan, and she is going to tell you about her experience as a daughter, as a DAL, and her daughter now. Linda?
Thank you, Helen. I appreciate this opportunity. Well, in 2014, we sold our house and we bought an RV and we traveled around the country. So for 7 years, I was a DAL. And I felt like I joined the Daughters back in 1980. That's how long I've been a daughter. So in that period of time, from 2014 to 2020, I was a DAL. But I tell you, I really missed I don't know, it's different now. I guess COVID has really been a blessing, believe it or not, because I don't remember ever having the opportunity to have someone to talk to or to be with. I felt very isolated. And I didn't have a prayer list. And we all have opportunities to evangelize, but it's not like when you're in community. Community is so important. And so it's just to have each other, like you said, it's a sisterhood. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. Then in 2020, we came back to Lake Worth, and we joined St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Lake Worth Beach, where Reverend Corey is a priest. And we didn't have a chapter. So, after all these years of saying that motto, I'm only one, but I am one, I decided we need to start a chapter. So we started with 4 women that were currently at Holy Spirit. And we formed the chapter, and we became a chapter on August 29th, 2021, of the Mary and Martha chapter. We figured we're all Marys and some of us are Marthas, and it was a perfect name for us. Then we now, as of today, there are 16 in our chapter and 4 in discernment.
Okay.
So, it's just being in that community is what it's about. And we've been able to establish several ministries that we do through since I was a Holy Spirit for 35 years, at St. Andrew's. And it's the community that counts. And it's important to have that.
Wow. Thank you, Linda.
You're
That's
welcome.
Beautiful. Very nice. Thank you for sharing.
Well, it's
Yes,
what we,
community.
it was all in the motto, all because of the motto is what we've said for so many years, I'm only one, but I am one. So
I can do something.
yes,
Just one can do something, right?
yes. And we bloom where we're planted.
Yes.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. Very nice. And we have another daughter, Mary Nicholson from Province 8, who also wants to share.
Well, I became a daughter in 98. And right after I became a daughter, I ended up moving to San Diego. And the church I started out at did not have a chapter. And then I did move to another church that did not have a chapter, but there were 2 churches not too far away from me. So, I kind of went between 2 chapters, and so I would consider myself a DAL, because I went through between 2 chapters. And then I moved to San Diego, and the church there did not have a chapter, so I was a DAL. But then I found a church, and another woman and I'm not sure can't remember specifically what year that was. It was probably early 2000s. She and I started a chapter in San Diego. And so it went from there. But I felt when I was a DAL, I felt kind of lost, isolated. You know, there was no connection. You know, so just floundering. You know, not doing anything, getting involved. But then once I started that with another friend, we started a chapter in San Diego, and I enjoy the community. To me, the community is very important, to be supportive of each other. As a daughter at large, I kind of felt out there, you know, by myself, and just I knew I was a daughter, but that was it. But that was it. So then in 2017, I moved to Vegas. And after having my experience of starting a chapter with another friend who did the majority of the work, I started my own chapter at the church. Very supportive from the rector. We now have we have a discernment class. When we get through, there will be nine or 10 of us members. But to me, the community is what it's all about. And I'm working on getting acquainted with the other chapters in the area. I wanted to do this since I started there because, again, you can get isolated in just your chapter. You need to get out of the chapter also and broaden your horizons, as I like to say, because it's more than your chapter. I've been to Triennial, I've been to Province, and, you know, just expanding your horizons for me. But you need a community. And I can't stress that enough. You know, you can be a daughter, but I feel community is good if you can all manage it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. I'm sorry, it sounds like you're having some Wi-Fi problems there, but thank you. We heard the story. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else would like to share about the experience of being out of a chapter and now into a chapter? Anybody else? If you'd like to, just show your hand with unmute yourself.
Well, yes, I would like to share. I became a daughter at St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Washington, D.C. And I remained there. I joined the church because I was a professional church soloist and I loved the church service. And I became so very close to the people in the Dorcas chapter there. However, I moved to Columbia, Maryland. I retired and currently did not have transportation to go into Washington, D.C. And so I joined Christ Episcopal Church in my neighborhood. And we do not have a chapter at Christ Episcopal Church. It's a large, wonderful church. What I want to state is that I do not feel isolated as a daughter at large, because one of the members of the Dorcas chapter reached out to me and invited me to fellowship with them again in Washington, D.C. And it was such a wonderful idea. And I have become such a part, and they have become such a part of my life. And because of technology, I'm in the Columbia, Maryland area, but I am able to fellowship with them, have some Bible study leadership and so forth from the distance. So I don't feel isolated. I don't see establishing a chapter at my church at this time. I don't know whether that is really possible right now. It probably will be in the future. But I'm just trying to say that how much I appreciate and love the people in the Dorcas chapter, where I started out and where I remained for years. And then when I left, they reached out to me, and now I'm back with them, fellowshipping with them.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Pamela. We're also aware that some of you may not be able to form a DOK chapter because it might not be, or it might not be something your new priest or congregation are familiar with. And sometimes they're reluctant to go along with that. So in cases like that, you have other people. If you find they're not getting the message so clear, you could have somebody come in to talk to them for you, explain what Daughter's all about. We could do that for you. Some again may just not be ready for a DOK chapter, but you want to stay in your new parish. And in this case, we highly recommend the sister-to-sister program. So here again to help you in that area. And whatever soil you're planted in, we ask that you will continue to grow stronger in your faith and in keeping your vows of prayer, service, and evangelism. And by joining some of the existing ministries in the new church, until maybe you get an opportunity to convince some of those people over, some of those ladies over to form a chapter. But continue to talk about your order and what it's like being a daughter. Share the experiences. Share your experience with others too, because some people might not have heard about the daughters. Yes, we are still meeting at Triennial. I'm looking forward to whoever's there next year, God spare our lives, to see that Triennial. We'll be meeting again. And we will be taking our pictures. Somehow our last Triennial pictures, I don't know what happened. We had some problems and something went wrong and we didn't get those pictures. But this time we will take our own pictures to get into the Royal Cross and on the website. So I look forward to seeing many of you.
I thought maybe I would share a slightly different experience, which is that I'm waiting for permission from my priest and even the bishop to start a chapter. But meanwhile, the fellowship has been wonderful in the international committee. And we always can use more help, but we've become a close-knit group. And it's very satisfying, and also to know and keep in touch through WhatsApp with many of our international daughters. So even if we're daughters at large here in the States, I don't know if there are other committees in Daughters of the King that daughters at large can be part of. The international group is one of those, but if you're looking for a closer fellowship and connection, there may be ways to do that even as a daughter at large.
Yeah, well, yes, we do reach out to the daughters are there, but we like to take care of home business first. We like to make sure we're getting in community as much as possible here. We try, that was my goal. That's why people say, why you stay with Daughters at Large so long? Because when I first came in, I set those goals of improving communication with our daughters out there, because I felt like so many of them were out there and feeling isolated. And that was my goal, and that's still my goal, to continue to reach and not to separate them. I don't like people thinking of them as this is Daughters at Large. We are one. And this is why before National had their webpage, their Facebook and all that, we had a page on Facebook for Daughters at Large. So when National Now started this, I just stepped back from that because I don't want them separate. I want them to be a part of inclusiveness. That's my thing. So they come on to the regular Daughters at Large and feel a part of that. So many times I've heard Daughters at Large who felt like they were all alone out there, you know? So that's why we would like them to be more in community, who can when they can, or reaching out with the sister to sister program. And I encourage each of you to push that and encourage that. I know some, like I said, will not be able to have a chapter going just now, but we don't give up. We continue to stay
Yeah.
away and keep trying. We don't give up. Okay. So
Can
I
you
look
excuse
forward to
me?
seeing some of you in Kentucky, and we'll get together and do our thing together. And of course, we'll take some pictures too. Okay.
Helen,
Yes.
there is a question or a comment in the chat. If you
Uh-huh.
want to address that,
What does it say? Let me see.
you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
As a DAL, I am the only, this is coming from Audrey. As a DAL, I am the only daughter in my church. The rector is very supportive of DOK, and I would love other DAL with affiliation to visit. There is willingness to host an event such as a spring assembly, which I hear can only be held where there is a chapter. Is there a way around this? Please advise.
You know, to have a clergy that's supportive, then you need to recruit some people from the church right there. If you're the only daughter, get some messages out to them, meet with them, go to these different ministries in your church and talk about the daughters and say that you're looking to do that and get a chapter going. It only needs 3 of you. Like I said, maybe one of your friends and a family member or somebody. You only need 3 to start. And when people see the work you're doing and the support you're giving to the church and the priest, you find, you know, others will come on board. With 1 daughter, it's a start. Okay. Anytime you feel, if you have a question, you could put it in the chat, but in a little while, you'll be going into little breakout rooms where you could share some things with your province, and maybe we'll have to join up some provinces because how many people here from depends on who's here, but you will see on the room 1, 2, 3, whatever chat. But before that, one question that's been coming up over and over from DALs especially is about dues and lifetime membership. That has been a recurring one. So at this time, we have with us our National Treasurer, Shirley Sangler, and she's going to cover some of that for you. So if you have any questions, more questions about that.
This is a fascinating conversation because I spent yesterday afternoon, I was invited to an informational meeting at a church about an hour away from me in Central Texas. And just for the record, it's 91 here today. Wishing for rain, praying for rain. So I attended an informational meeting yesterday, and it was led by a daughter at large who had been at this church for 2 years. And she decided to pull together a chapter, and the priest, the rector, is very supportive of the DOK. And when he saw that she was a daughter, he encouraged her to start a chapter. And well, why don't you start a chapter here? And she's doing that now. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 9 or 10 people yesterday who came to the informational meeting about forming a chapter for the Daughters of the King. So prayers for you all who are attempting it, you all that are not attempting it. It's just like Helen said, it's that connectedness. We just need to stay in community and connected to one another.
Mhm.
And so that was very interesting to me. I am going to share my screen if I'm able.
Mhm.
And I'm going to share this Word document. The National Handbook states under the dues and responsibilities on page 5 that the daughter pay her dues promptly. That's one of the duties and responsibilities under each of us as members of the Daughters of the King. And those dues, the financial needs of the order are met through the annual dues and lifetime memberships. And we'll talk about those two because they're a little bit unique. The dues support the work of the order at not only the national level, but the provincial and the diocesan level also.
Mhm.
Okay. The dues include a subscription to the Royal Cross. And the National Council and National Office are diligent stewards of the order's finances. And we go through I would say almost a 4-month budgeting process starting in the spring. And we're very, very careful about what's coming in and what's going out and how that's best used for all daughters. So scroll to page 2 and maybe you'll learn some things here. Dollars and cents. The National Handbook under the support of the order goes on to say, National Council and leaders at every level are volunteers. And we need to remember that and keep that in mind. Each of you is a volunteer as you lead other people in your various areas. The order has a low operating budget to other nonprofit organizations of similar sizes. So if you look at our organization budget, it's a couple of $100,000 a year, not counting triennial. That has its own budget. The primary expenses at the national level are for operations supporting the entire membership and mission of the Daughters of the King. Okay, so here we're getting into the brass tacks here. Senior annual dues, $50, and you're encouraged to pay those online. Hopefully it's easier for you, and it's easier for the office. It saves paper, things like that. Did you know that there's a tax deductible portion of each of those dues every year? Tax deductible portion of those dues is $35. It's not $50 because $15 of your dues goes to the publication of the Royal Cross. So because we're getting something in exchange, a portion of that is not deductible. Where does it go? $20 goes to support the national budget or national office with their operating budget. $15 goes to the Royal Cross subscription. So that's printing, design, all of the non-volunteer hours that go into the publication of the National Royal Cross. $5 goes to the provincial assembly that you belong to, and $10 goes to the diocesan assembly that you belong to. Generally, it's my experience in Province 7 that we have one provincial assembly per year. And so that $5 contributes to the expenses of that assembly. And the Diocese of Texas, which I am in, they put on 2 assemblies each year, once at our diocesan convention center and once at whoever's hosting it in the spring. So that's where those monies are going. So for your $50 of your dues that you pay each year, that's how it's broken down. Now, the lifetime membership is a one-time payment of your dues. And so you're not going to be paying those $50 per year. The lifetime currently is $1,250. You need to call the national office and pay by credit card, or you can put a check with the individual dues payment form that's on the website. And of that $1,250, $375 of that is tax deductible. Okay, go to the next page I have. This is the last one. If for some reason you cannot pay your dues, if you're in a financial bind, if your circumstances is allowing you not to pay your dues, you don't have to get out of the DOK. There's a process. There's actually 2 policies and procedures related to the process of how to get some assistance in paying for your dues. So the dues assistance policies and procedures describe how an active daughter can ask for help. And in that policy, number 3C, the daughter, if a daughter's at large is experiencing financial difficulties and not paying their annual dues or paying your annual dues is cost prohibited, you can seek assistance from your diocesan assembly president, the provincial assembly president, or finally the national office. And this is actually true of even daughters that belong to chapters, except there's one more step at the beginning. They look to their chapter first for assistance, then the diocese that they belong to, then the province they belong to, and finally, national office. Then there's a policy on the dues relief status policy and procedures, and it describes how a permanently incapacitated member can seek relief. Both of these dues assistance and dues relief are on the same form. It's called the application for dues relief status. That form is signed by the clergy and the diocesan or provincial assembly, and that form goes to the national office. I think, in fact, my chapter president, I just got an email from her, and she was talking about an age limit or an age requirement. There is no longer an age requirement on dues relief. Okay, it used to be 85 years old. It's not in the policy any longer. It's not in the handbook any longer. Did you learn anything? I got a few shaking heads there. I didn't realize that a portion of it was tax deductible. So that was very interesting to me.
Yeah, that was new.
Yeah. Any thoughts or questions about that in particular? I'm assuming I can ask that, Helen.
Yeah, yes, this, I'm sure some of people might have some questions and about the lifetime.
So the lifetime, if you do pay in and get a lifetime membership, and I reminded people yesterday at the informational meeting, that's a great opportunity if someone's can gift that amount. You know, it's an opportunity to invest not only your dues in the future, but it's an amazing way to invest in the Daughters of the King. So when those lifetime dues come in, they are invested, they're kept separate, they're invested in a separate account. And as when the spring comes around, that's when the lifetime dues actually get allocated to the operating as dues. So every year we look at that lifetime dues and we take a portion out of that invested money, and that becomes part of the operating budget. So your dues are coming back every single year. You're just not paying an annual invoice in August.
I have a question
Yes, ma'am.
about dues being in arrears. When I was a daughter at large for some time, and I fell behind in my dues. And then when I was able to make a payment and catch up, I was no longer considered in good standing. And then I had to start all over again and take that. And I was wondering if you could clarify, because the policy with that, because I heard different things. I mean, now I'm a senior daughter, everything is okay, but, and I guess in hindsight, it didn't hurt for me to, go through, that again. But
Right.
I just kind of wanted to be clear in case, because I'm trying to start a chapter at my church. And if something like that would ever happen, I would want to be clear on what the actual policy is.
Right. And that's why we're certainly encouraging this dues assistance, path or opportunity, so daughters don't fall in arrears. So what happens is if you miss 1 year payment, you can always catch up. If you miss a second year payment, you can pay that year and the prior year and catch up. If you don't pay the third year, you're going to drop. They're going to change you to inactive, and you're going to have to go through the discernment and training process again once you've dropped off the rolls, basically.
So you would have to miss, I would pray that no one has to miss any payments, but you're saying that after the second year, if you don't catch up, that's when you fall into you become inactive?
I think it's at the third year, actually.
The beginning of the third year or the end?
At the end of the third year.
Okay.
But you have to pay that year and the 2 prior years before August 31st.
Okay. And I think that's what the problem was. I paid it, but I think it was after the deadline.
Right.
So,
And
okay.
they probably looked at the membership rolls on August 31st, and that's when it happened.
Okay.
That's why we need to help each other stay current. Okay. And that's what the dues assistance is all about.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm glad you're back.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I'm Alma Brown, and I'm new to the member at large. I'd like to know, can lifetime membership be paid in installments, or is all due in one lump sum?
It is all due in one lump sum.
Okay.
That's one of the things that keeps the cost low, is not, trying to break it up and keep track of receivables and things like that. But thank you for asking the question.
Any other questions? About dues and
Well, I appreciate the invitation to be here. Thank you all very much. And I hope
Thank
that was
you.
helpful.
Thank you for coming. Yes, you gave us some interesting information there, like the tax thing. I didn't know about that either.
I learned things too.
But I guess being a lifetime member doesn't help me now at this stage. Okay, thank you. Now, oh, we coming to the end here now, but what I'm gonna do instead of the room breakup, I'm thinking that the province chairs, if you have anything to announce, I think you can do that now if you have anything that's happening in your province, and I will call out your names. Okay. So if you have anything to announce in your chapter, and if any diocesan chairs here for that, they can let us know too. Now, province 1, I saw Sandra here. Sandra, are you, anything you have to share? No? Okay. It's good to see you. You can unmute. The president is here. Monica, anything you want to share with province 1? Monica?
I am hoping to put together a fall assembly, a virtual assembly that will be November 4th in the afternoon.
November 4th? Okay, so that's province 1, November 4th for the fall assembly. Okay. Province 2, Mabel, I see.
Yes. Good
Anything
afternoon,
to
everyone.
announce here?
Yes, we're fortunate that we are going to get 3 new chapters in our province. Some were daughter-at-large, and now they formed their own chapters. Deborah spoke. We're going to have 2 other chapters as well. From being a daughter-at-large, they're becoming a daughter now.
For
And
transition. Oh, that sounds good.
yes, one is 2 from Queens and 1 from Jersey.
Okay, so you having some transitions going on. Good. And one thing I want to say to you, when you're having this meeting, please make it really festive and really make them feel special coming over to join the community. Okay.
And we have our fall assembly October 27th to the 29th.
October 27th, and that is province 2. Okay.
Province 2 in Albany.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
Okay, province 4. Now the province 4 chair is not here, but the past chair is here, and then there's Valerie here. So Valerie is one of the diocesan chairs. So either of you, if you have anything to announce, because Eugenie or Malva or Valerie.
Well, I wrote something up. May I read it quickly?
Okay.
Okay. So this is for our gathering today. So good to be in this Zoom space with all of you as we gather in fellowship for serving our provinces, DALs. Many thanks for Helen for this time we have together. I am Valerie McCarty as Diocesan DAL Chair of Southeast Florida, and I feel it's a gift to share in the love and care of our DAL. So this happens by aid from our National DAL Chair, Helen, our Province 4 DAL Chair, Malvern, our Assembly Presidents, our Deanery Coordinators, and the many, many presidents. I'm grateful to relate to Daughters at Large and to shepherd them in their staying connected with living out their vows and finding their way back into chapter life in their home church chapter. With serving DALs, we all know we are, with God's help, to work to lessen their numbers. As a chair, I see this as a loving duty. We all know some Daughters at Large are truly limited to their homes, and then we can assist them via the chapter. If they need a ride to their church, for example. Now, little Linda Sullivan was just on from St. Andrews. She was the first to speak from our Diocese of Southeast Florida, other than Helen. And she, in fact, was very instrumental in bringing 2 Daughters at Large that came in.
When she got knocked off, I don't even see her. I don't see her. She got knocked off.
Yeah, she dropped
Yeah,
off.
okay. Well, that's Province 4. I know they're having their fall retreat right now. They're starting today while we're here. So that was Province 4. Province 5 is Susan Fain. I think Susan was getting ready to leave too. Is she there, Susan? Sue Fain? Anybody else on Province 5 have anything to share, to announce? This is announcements time now. And Elsie, anything from Province 6? Province 7, Patsy, you have anything to share? Any announcements? Anything happening? Your fall assembly or anything coming up? Okay, Alex, I see you unmuted. Good. Tell us.
Province 8 is a very broad and diverse province. We have 14 dioceses in Province 8, which is, when we talk about community and communications, it can become a challenge. But I do want to thank Mary Nicholson for her story today, because she is part of Province 8. But also to tell you that Province 8 is working on solidifying its committees, which have existed, but we want to really use this next year leading up to the next triennial to find our future leaders and so forth. So I have been asked, I'm the DAL chair for Province 8. I've been asked to be on the membership committee and also the newsletter committee. So I'm excited about those opportunities and see where they might assist Province 8 daughters at large. They're always in my heart.
Okay, thank you. Now we get some clergy here. Reverend Peter, you want to say something to us? Thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you, Helen. No, I wasn't prepared to speak, but at bottom line, I'm delighted and excited. I was just installed as our diocesan clergy person here in Lexington, which is the eastern half of the state of Kentucky, and am working with chapters. We've got 20 chapters here to visit each of those that's available and able to be visited, and just see what their needs are and how we can grow them, because the daughters are doing wonderful things here. And I just want to see that happen. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this meeting as well, and to begin to meet with daughters at large.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, and I hope you got some information here that could help you with that and sharing with the daughters at large. And you're going to be our host of the next year for the triennial, Kentucky. Yes, thank you for coming. And then there was Reverend, I think I put a name down, Margaret, somewhere here. Where am I? I'm on the other screen.
So mainly, yeah. I wanted to especially thank you, Helen, and thank you for bringing us all together. I know it's a desire of your heart, and that really comes across. So thank you for reaching out to all of us.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, because I know this Sunday you all had a long day. Yes,
thank you.
Of course, Reverend Deb, I know you're there, and she's always, I'm always drying her on something, right, Reverend Deb? You want to say anything? I mean, you prayed for us, I know, but anything else you wanted to say to us? She is the chaplain.
Yeah, I just wanted to say we're having the General Assembly on November 4th, I think it is.
Oh yeah, the Diocesan Assembly, yes.
Diocesan Assembly at actually my church, St. Benedict's in Plantation. And we're lucky that we have a big enough space to hold the daughters. And I became a daughter when I went to St. Benedict's 9 years ago as a fairly new deacon. And I was their chaplain, and can't really be a chaplain for a group if you're not part of it. So I became a daughter, and I think it's one of the most special things that you can do. And the fact that evangelism, we're the only group that has that as part of what we're supposed to be doing. I think is very significant. And to name that prayer is the biggest part too, between service, prayer, and evangelism. It's a very wonderful triangle. And I got to go to Canuga once, and it was amazing. And I love the fact that Helen is sitting in front of a picture of Canuga with the cross in the back.
Yes.
Because that, if you ever have the chance to go, it is, God is everywhere, but he's especially right there.
Holy mountain.
That's the beautiful thing with the lake and the smoke coming out. It's like the Holy Spirit is just going everywhere.
Yes.
So thank you, Helen. And it's so wonderful to see all these beautiful ladies all over the place. And it is difficult to be isolated, but the fact that you can reach out, and now you even know some ladies that might be close to you. And I've known Linda for years, and I kind of wondered what the heck happened to her for a long time. And then she and her husband's a deacon. And so it's really great that you can help other people be a part of something much greater.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thanks to all of you. Listen, it's wonderful being a daughter. I know you all heard the story of, I mean, you might not, you didn't know where it came from, where it originated, but I know you all heard about somebody saying, we are princess, the daughter's a princess. Well, this happened about probably about 30 years ago, 30 something years. I'm 35. I've been a daughter for 35 years. I was about 10 years old and they used to let you come in. Give away. Anyway, my daughter at that time was in the hospital, the little girl in the hospital. And her godfather, and the church where her godfather was, they had daughters who used to go do visitings and stuff after church and take flowers. And he told them about her, and they went to visit her. And they told her, she was about 9 years old, they told her that her mother was a daughter of the king. Oh, my daughter got all excited, and she called me, Mommy, and she's all excited. You didn't tell me you were a princess. Said the two ladies came here and told me that you're a princess. I'm listening now, trying to figure out, what's this coming? I didn't know yet about this visit. And she said, they told me you're a daughter of a king, Mommy. Mommy, you didn't tell me. She went on. So I shared that joke. So you are each a princess, okay? You're special people, daughter of the king, and not a king, okay? So that's what that just went, wow, okay. Anyway, thank you all so very much, so much for being here. It's wonderful to have you all on, and thank you all for coming and continue to talk about the daughters. I've never been a daughter at large. I've been in a chapter all that time, in the same chapter, but I've never been a daughter at large, but I had this passion for the daughters at large who were out there, and I just knew what was missing, and some of them, I know some they cannot help because of life situations, things change, you know? So, and remember, those new daughters, those who are making that transition, please, somebody had mentioned earlier about remembering them in your prayers. Thank you.